The education space on KDP is absolutely booming, and while certain niches like letter tracing or scissor skills are pretty easy to break into, niches like math workbooks can be pretty difficult to get a foothold in simply because of the time it takes to manually create dozens of compelling math problems from scratch. Today, I'm going to show you how you can easily create professional quality math workbooks in minutes instead of hours or even days that you can sell on Amazon, Etsy, or even just print at home to use as homeschooling materials. And we're going to do this in a piece of software called Math Worksheet Generator. I'm Rachel Harrison's son, and I help online entrepreneurs make more money so that they can live more life. You are an online entrepreneur, go ahead and subscribe, do hit the bell, that way you'll be notified every time I put out one of these videos every Monday. And if you are new to low content publishing and you want to find out how you can start generating passive income, creating and selling math workbooks like the ones I'm about to show you, as well as other types of low content books like journals and planners, click on the link in the description below and you can download my free guide, 3 steps to publishing your first low content book in less than a day. So first, let's just take a really quick look at a few of these math workbooks that are doing really well on Amazon. And the couple of examples I'm going to show you here, these are from independent publishers like you and me. These are not, big publishing houses that have created these books. So let's see, we've got this one is ranked at 79,122, which is great. You can kind of just get a sense of what kinds of things they're doing on the interiors of these books. Next one here. This one's ranked at 2,915, which is absolutely fantastic. This book's really raking it in. Got another one here. Again, you can just kind of take a look at some of the different layouts they've got inside of the books. That's ranked at 8,700, another fantastic ranking. And let's just take a look at one more. Again, you can just kind of see the different examples of the different pages that they've got going on in the book. And that's ranked at 52,000. So again, really great ranking. These books are all doing really, really well. This one's only got 2 reviews. It's only been published for a couple of months. So as you can see, you don't have to be really, really well established to be able to break into this market and start making some decent money. All right, so let's take a look at Math Worksheet Generator. So this is the main dashboard here. And firstly, they have an absolute ton of training videos here. So lots of help and support if you need it. And of course, they do have a support function as well. So I'm gonna head straight into this test book that I've created earlier. And I've already just thrown together a few pages just to kind of give you a glimpse of what this thing can do. And then we'll go ahead and just kind of go through each of the different options here. So we're just going to go ahead and add a page. So we've got a few different functions here. I'm just going to click this page with an add button. Now this is very cool. First, you can just head on over to the left sidebar and you can decide which templates you want to use. So you can see there's addition, there's subtraction, multiplication, division, and then depending on which version of the software you buy, there's going to be some add-ons as well. So there'll be step multiplication, lattice multiplication, long division, time, fractions, decimal, and percentage. So you can do things really simply, or you can make things as complex as you want. The main thing when you are starting off with one of these workbooks is just to decide which age group you're targeting, and then create math problems that are appropriate to whatever that age group is. So you might have to do some digging around if you're not really familiar with, what types of math problems are appropriate for specific age groups. Just do some research on Amazon, and I would probably look at more of the big publishing houses that are putting out these books. They're going to probably have a better sense of which math problems are appropriate and which ones aren't for specific age groups. Once you've decided, you can just start using some of these templates. So for addition, we've got these 3 here showing, but we can click on View 52 More, and that's just going to give us different designs here. So the first one, you're looking for the end result. This one, you're kind of filling in one of the missing operands. Same with this one here. There's different designs where you can have the result inside of a box. There's dotted lines. You can have it horizontally as well. Different variations of boxes and solid lines and dotted lines. These ones have border around the entire problem. So you can just take a look and see which one you'd like to use. And then you can just go ahead and give it a click. That's going to fill up the whole page. And then you can adjust accordingly. Now, one thing to do at the beginning, which I forgot to mention, is head over to the settings and then you can select your page trim. So this is just on 8.5 by 11, but it's got all of these different options for page trim. And then you can decide whether you want page numbering or not. So you can do no numbering, and then there's these different variations of how you can number the page. And do you want the page number centered, or do you want that to the side of the page, and where you want that page to start with, and margins as well. So always be sure to check your margins for whatever the trim size is that you're using on KDP and follow their margin guidelines. And then if you want, you can tick this show page margins, and then that will just help you with your alignment when you're laying out your designs. And then we'll click update, and there we go. So once I've now clicked back on the math problems, all of these settings come up. So I can choose how many rows, how many columns, width between the grid, height and width, row spacing, all of these different options down here. So for example, if I wanted to do only 6 rows and 4 columns, I could do that. I would just click update worksheet. I can play around with the width of the grid here, the height, row spacing. I can also play around with the range for the operand. So right now, these are all single-digit operands, but I can set the minimum and maximum here. So maybe I want the maximum to be, I don't know, 25. And I can do the same for this. Then again, you just hit update worksheet. Lots of other different customizations you can go through here as well. So showing the index, that's basically just numbering. So yes, I definitely want to show that. The style of the numbering you can play around with, the index margin, the result block border style, you can play around with that. Color, padding, divider thickness, divider color, style, border style. So tons of different options for customization here. All right, so let's add some text to the top. So the first thing I want to do is just create a little bit of room. So maybe I'll go ahead and delete maybe 3 rows and a couple of columns. And I also feel like it's just a little bit too tight, so I want to space them out a little bit more. So let's go ahead and increase the row spacing just a little bit. And I think I can actually add a column back. All right. So we can come back to that if we want to. Right now, let's add some text. So I'm going to hit the text tool here, drag it up to where I want it. And we'll be a little bit boring with our title right now. We might want to jazz that up a bit. And then you can go up here to the fonts. And one thing which just took me a minute to figure out, you actually have to delete that. Then you'll see all the rest of the fonts. So tons and tons of font selection. Lots and lots of different variations here. Like literally hundreds of fonts. So you're definitely not going to be wanting in that area. If you want to play around with the size, we could do that here. I could adjust the alignment. Now, if this is something for kids, you might want to jazz it up with some imagery. So that is where this little tab comes in handy. So there's animals, arrows, borders, cut lines, all of these other images that you can go through in all of these different categories. Once you find a category that you're interested in, you can just click on this View 50 More. So lots of cute little images here. You're just going to click and then you can just drag it around. So with these kind of images, you could do something fun like a math workbook / coloring book combination. And then you might just want to do some rearranging here. So I think you can probably add an extra column and delete a few rows. And then I might want to just copy and paste this. So you can just use your copy and paste shortcut. Drag that down there and get rid of a few of those. And then that looks about right. There's also borders. So if we wanted to, we could add a little bit of a border. Now, if we wanted to create a bunch of different pages exactly like this, but we wanted to make sure that the problems were different, you're just going to go up to this clone page button. And now you've got the exact same page, but all of the math problems are different. So if I wanted to, on this page, I could just swap out the image and maybe swap out the border or something like that. You know, or I could just go ahead and put a different image in there maybe. And, you know, maybe I just move this around just for a little bit of variation. Now, of course, if this is a book for older children, maybe they don't want, you know, the goofy little images and, you know, you could remove the border. Maybe it's just simply math problems and you wanted to create 20 different pages. In that case, you could use this bulk clone feature. Now, this is available, I think, in one of the upsells, but you could just enter the number of pages to clone. So let's just say you wanted 50 pages of whatever, subtraction problems. You could just create the one page. You could enter the number 50 in here, clone pages, and now you've got 50 pages of completely different math problems. So obviously a massive, massive time saver than if you were to do this completely manually. If you want to tackle some more complex problems, we've got step multiplication, lattice multiplication, long division. We've got time down here. Those are kind of neat. Let's take a look at some of the time clocks. So these are a bunch of the different styles that are available here. Tons of different stylistic options. So again, you can decide how many rows you want, how many columns. You can play around with things like the radius of the clock. The length of the hands, hand thickness, color, length, lots of different options here to customize the clocks. Now with one of the upsells, you actually have the option to upload your own images, which is very cool. But the one thing I will say is that it's probably just as easy to download whatever you're working on here, and then you can upload that into Canva and add images there. So while it's definitely handy to be able to have this upload image feature, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. You could still add your own images afterward in a free program like Canva, especially because you're probably going to be wanting to create your cover for this booklet in a program like Canva or, you know, Affinity Publisher or something like that anyways. So I certainly don't think it's essential to have this feature. Now, once you've created all of your different pages and your math book is ready to roll, so I've just created, you know, 5 or 6 different random pages here. You can create a solutions page. So this is something that would take absolutely ages if you were to do manually. With this, you're just going to click this one Show Solutions button. And now you've got all your solutions mapped out for you on a couple of pages at the end. So that is going to be down here for you. Super duper handy. In terms of other features, there's this randomize pages feature. So that's just going to allow you to swap the pages around, I believe. Again, we've already covered text, the add page, delete page, cloning. If you want to move pages around up or down, you can just press these arrows. And then when you're finally ready to download the whole thing, you're just going to press the download button here. You have all these different options. I recommend downloading as a PDF. That way it's just going to be print ready and you can just upload that straight to KDP. There might be a couple rare times when you might want to download as a PNG or a JPEG, but in general, I think you're going to be downloading as a PDF. So if you want to get this software, I think it's $97 at the time that I'm creating this video, plus some upsells. So be sure to know what you're getting with each upsell. So I believe with the main software, you're going to get addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then with each upsell, you're going to get a few extra items, like the ability to create some of the more challenging problems. You're going to get the option to upload your own images if you'd like to do that. And I think you'll have the ability to download, you'll have unlimited downloads. Now, I think even with the main software, you're going to get 100 downloads a month. So unless you're really cranking out the books, I think that's probably going to be plenty. So if you go and get this, you are going to be able to just download the main software. And then as you're purchasing that, you're going to get options come up and ask you if you want some of these upsells. So ultimately, who is this software for? I think this is anyone that really wants to get into that education space on KDP and really wants to focus on creating really high quality educational materials for children and teens. If you are committed to that niche, then I think this is worth the investment. I would probably want to create a few children's educational books manually first, just to kind of see if I can get some traction. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in math either. You could try tracing books, maybe some coloring books, something that you can do manually and just see if you can gain any traction with an educational brand. If you're doing that already and this, would be a nice addition to your overall catalog and to that educational brand, then I definitely think this is worth the investment if you want to pursue math workbooks, because it's just it's next to impossible to create really high quality math books manually and be able to scale. So that is who I would recommend this for. If that's you, you can go ahead and click on the link down in the description to find out more about Math Worksheet Generator. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn how to publish books like the math workbooks I just showed you today, plus some other types of low content books like journals and planners on the Kindle Direct publishing platform so that you can start generating passive income on Amazon, don't forget, download my free guide, 3 steps to publishing your first low content book in less than a day. I've linked to that down in the description below. You can also join my free Facebook group, Low Content Profits, also linked to down below. Watch this video next for some other hidden gem low content book niches that generate over $1,000 a month. And please, if you like this video, do hit the like button, subscribe, share it, and I will see you next time. Bye.